Hello and welcome to the iconic Green Light On Racing and Sport podcast as we take a look at the Oz Cup Carnival, the iconic Australian Cup Carnival at the Meadows over the next few weeks. Massive few weeks ahead. There's been a fair bit going on too in the world of greyhound racing, obviously with this handpicked field in the Zoom Top and the Temlee. We've got to chat about that. We've got to go through those two Group 1 races, find some winners when it comes to round one of the Australian Cup Carnival. That and a heap more. And when we chat Meadows, when we chat Green Light On podcast, we have to get Mickey Ty on because he's the man of the Meadows. He walks around now with a strut. His leg muscles are bigger than the torso at the moment because he's been walking up the 1,000 steps so much. Mickey, what's going on, mate? You're looking well.
Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, good to be back. Gee, that time from the Phoenix to this Australian Cup Carnival, it feels like about 20 days, not 10 weeks or whatever it is. So it's flying by and, yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck into this carnival over the next 3 weeks.
It's an exciting carnival. Do you like the way they are doing it at the moment? We'll bring up a graphic now and discuss the 3-week series, and a few things have changed. We used to have the Oz Cup, the Temlee, the Rookie Rebel, the Zoom Top on the one night, but now let's go through them. Feb 14, the Group 1 Temlee Invitation, the Group 1 Zoom Top, and round 1 of the Australian Cup Series. 21st of Feb, Fantabale Superstayers Heats, and round 2 of the Oz Cup Series. Those from the Temlee advance straight through to the semis effectively. The 8th of Feb, we've got the Oz Cup at Group 1, the Fantabale Superstars, the Rookie Rebel, and not to forget the GRV Vic Breeders Maiden Final. So there's a little bit for everyone. I love the way that the Meadows have changed things here because so often in this industry, Mickey, we just sit with tradition and we just keep things the same. And I think the way they're doing it now, it's giving greyhounds a chance that say fall out of the Oz Cup Carnival that can run 600 to have a look at a Rookie Rebel, and things just sort of seem to fall into place. And what I love now is there's 3 top nights of racing. Like, you want to be at all of them.
Absolutely. And I love how obviously all the dogs in the Temlee now go through to that second round, the semi-finals of the Australian Cup, which I really like. They get a chance to be in both series. I think that's a positive. Should the winner of the Temlee maybe even get a pass all the way through to the final, a bit like the Gold Bullion at the Cube? Maybe, because obviously other than the prize money, even if you won the Temlee this week, you're still in that same spot as those other 7 dogs. Maybe that'd be something they could look at, or is that giving the winner too much? I don't know. But to win a Temlee, you almost deserve that spot straight into the Australian Cup. Maybe 50-50. I'm probably 50-50 on it, but I do love all those 8 dogs straight into the semi-finals. Almost reminds me a bit of like one of your Indian Wells type tennis tournaments where they give the top seeds the bye and into that second week.
I don't mind that, to be honest, mate. You see, I think it's either American Idol, Australian Idol, or what's the other one with the 4 X's on the desk?
The X Factor.
X Factor, those type of shows. They've got the golden ticket where you get right through to the end, and it would sort of make sense now the way this is being run, that if you can win the Temlee, not only do you take home that Group 1 and the prize money, but you also advance to one of the most prestigious races in an Australian Cup. So there's a little bit of a cherry on top for those that get a chance at a Temlee and are lucky enough to win a Temlee. I don't half mind that. Run of the day. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a long time, Mickey Ty, since I've hit the stinger for run of the day. It's something that we don't do, but after 6-8 weeks on the sidelines, at least it feels like 6 or 8 weeks. I'm not actually sure if it's been that long, but I know you said it felt like 20 days. For me, it feels like 3 months since we've gone to work with the podcast, but we are back for a big 2026. Run of the sort of period, the summer period while we were away, has to be dramatical for me in the Warragul Cup. I mean, this is a dog that he's a little bit enigmatic. He's a little bit hard to follow, I think it's fair to say. There was a stage there where he didn't look like he was going to make it as a decent circle race dog. And then Team Thompson, doing Team Thompson things, elected something a little bit different, took him up the straight, gave him a couple of looks at Hillsville, and he's just grown a leg. Like the confidence he must have picked up from those runs. And this Warragul Cup win, have you seen a group race, feature race like a country cup that the last 50 metres, like the GPS data, if they had GPS trackers, would have been off the chart. Off the chart led the race, obviously, but the dramatical closing section, mate, this was, I'm nearly going to say this is the most impressive country cup win I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would nearly agree with that, James. He made off the chart look like a dog you'd see in race 11 at Warragul on a Thursday in a tier 3 meeting. It was just extraordinary. I'm like, that's off the chart. He just burnt off like down the straight. Incredible win. Look, I was actually against him in the final just because I'm thinking with his box manners, the luck has got to run out surely that he finds a little bit of trouble. And whilst that trouble's happening, a dog like Off the Chart is just too far in front that almost makes it mathematically impossible, for Dramatical to run a dog like Off the Chart down. And not only did he run him down, he just went straight past him. It was extraordinary stuff.
And the winning margin at the end to come away and win a sprint country cup when I don't think he's going to be a 450 metre dog. I think that was just as impressive as the win itself. I don't know, I haven't seen too many dogs come of age as quick as Dramatical has, because he's gone from being a dog that you just about lay every week because he does things so stupidly to now being a dog that you're sitting there going, I think he should have been in the Temleen. That's another point for discussion in just a moment. But how quick has this dog just put it together?
Extraordinarily quick. And have you noticed, look at his tail when he's running, his tail's very stiff, and it just shows how hard he's trying. Sometimes when you see the tail stiffen up like that, it might mean they've sort of pinged a small injury. But in this dog's case, he's just digging in and chasing.
Trust you, Mickey, to notice the stiff tail.
I'll look out for everything, James. What can I say?
Big race preview. On the back of Mickey Ty and his stiff tails, we get straight into the big race preview, and there's a bit to discuss. There's a bit to break down. Obviously, we're going to take a look at the 14th of Feb meeting and pick out a couple of best bets. We're going to go in depth with the two Group 1s, the Zoom Top and the Temlee. But before we do, I want to discuss a little bit about the selection process for the Temlee, for example, the sprint race, because I'm a part of the Top Gun panel. There's a whole group of racing experts, we like to call ourselves, that sit together and try and find the perfect field. Now, I don't think you're ever going to find the perfect field, but with the Top Guns, the rules, the regulations, the criteria has changed a little bit. Now, you sort of look for greyhounds, yes, that have been there and done that. They've got the proven runs on the board, but there's a little bit more free reign, I think, as a Top Gun selector these days, where you can sit there and go, X Factor overrides a dog who's won a Group 1 at the track 12 months ago. I think that the rules and the criteria around the Temlee is a little bit different still. They're still leaning to the path of dogs who have performed really well. Now, the reason I bring this up, Mickey, is because a greyhound like Tim Zoo, for example, there's a lot of conjecture on him getting a start. And I went to the Melbourne Dogs, the Meadows Facebook page, and I just scrolled through a couple of the comments. Surprised to see Tim Zoo get a run. Been a marvellous dog, but he seems past his prime. Tim Zoo over Poor Oswald, questioning that with a dead rose. So I'm assuming that means they're not happy with that. Most exciting dog in the country doesn't get selected because he hasn't won at the Meadows. Reckons it's not really attracting people to the sport. Tim Zoo, wow, over Poor Oswald, missing out. Wow. And that was sort of the rough gist of this year's, I guess, negative comments post the field. Now, what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, just Tim Zoo, I'm probably 30-70, if that makes sense. I think probably shouldn't have got a start. His last few runs at the Meadows over the 525 looks like he just wants further. And then he had that Sale Cup campaign where he actually really improved. I was wondering where this dog was at. He really improved. He'd be a dog I'd be sort of maybe putting in the rookie Rebel. Obviously now he's got the chance to be in both. Would I probably lean Poor Oswald? Yes. Irish Bill's probably another one that might have been a bit stiff to miss out. He's sort of won, a speed star type match race format up at the Q, and then he started favourite in the Group 1 Bullion. He's another dog who's got upside. Some of his wins at Sale over the last couple of months had to seemed to be believed. He's another dog who's got that bit of that X factor, freak factor about him. Started favourite in the Gold Bullion, as I said. I thought he might have been a little bit stiff too. Yes, I think Poor Oswald and Irish Bill, for me, one of them maybe instead of Tim Zoo. I tend to find over the years there has been a few howlers, but I wouldn't say any of these are a howler. And that's, as you said, it's very hard to keep everyone happy with these races. And said Tim Zoo, he's still got a lot of credentials. And what are they looking for? I think, let's say if Dramatical had got a start, I think that would have pissed a lot of people off as well, because he'd only ran 30.55 at the Meadows. So then you would have had people going, why didn't a dog with the credentials of a Tim Zoo go in over a dog that's done nothing at the Meadows like Dramatical? So it's hard to keep everyone happy in these instances.
I think 1 to 6, 1 to 5 is normally pretty easy to select, and then 6 to 16 can be a little bit of a raffle. So not an easy job for whoever puts together the fields. But for me, I think about putting on the best show. And for me, the best show would have Dramatical over Tim Zoo. So whether or not that changes in the future, I'm not too sure. Maybe that's just the way the Top Gun will go. And if, in 6-7 months it's Top Gun time. Well, Dramatical's going as well as he is right now. He'll be in the race. So, yeah, I don't mind it, but we'll see what plays out there. But I love when people get on the socials and there's a bit of banter back and forth because everyone's right has a right to an opinion. They can say what they want, they can think what they want, and I don't mind that. Anyway, let's get into the box draw. We might as well start with the Temley. We've spoken about that. Number 1, Kanya Mayhem. Number 2, Mapunga Reward. 3, Tim Zoo. 4, Slick Split. I wouldn't put it past Team Thompson to get Timmy Zoo home either here. Dacey's Rory 5, 6 Deadly Avenger, 7 Dashing Slay, 8 Sharapova Star, 9 Vista Weird, 10 Poor Oswald. We'll quickly go through a couple of the big chances. For me, Kanya Mayhem's got one paw on the trophy already because I watched this greyhound trial one day at Sandown. I was packing up the gear. It was a Monday night. It was about 11 o'clock, and one Jess Hopkins rolls into the Sandown venue, and she wanders out with this blue dog. I had a look, and I thought, gee, that's got to be Kanya Mayhem. I have never, in the years I've been involved in greyhound racing, Mick, seen a dog go through the first corner at a quicker speed. It was just nailed to the rail. And it actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it. That's how impressive this trial was. It was a post-to-post. He ended up running some ridiculous section down the back. Don't quote me, but around 12:48, 12:50. And the overall run was just absolutely extraordinary. But that acceleration through the first corner and nailed to the rail, I've never seen a greyhound visually look that quick. And this was in a trial. So for me, from box 1, if you can't cross him early, you're not going to get past him. Simple as that. And his win last start in the Gold Bullion was airborne. He is humming at the moment. He's the best dog in the world right now, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. You know, we've disagreed on a few races like the Phoenix, but this isn't one of them. I'm with you here on Kanya Mayhem. And I'm guessing when you saw him trial, he's a hell of a lot better dog now. And as you saw with those runs at the Q were just sensational. And let's not forget, Jessie didn't stay up there for those runs at the Q as well. She was flying back and forth just for the race. So that dog was doing it, you know, in the baggage of a plane without much, straight off the plane to the track. Now he's back at his home facilities. I can't see why. I just think he wins as well, James. A great map here. Everything is ticked for me.
Yeah, I think he's going to be super hard to beat. He's a greyhound going places, and that trial would have been, I reckon, maybe 6 weeks ago. It was after the Melbourne Cup, and I have a funny feeling he's about a 3, 4, 5 length quicker dog right now than he was when he won the Melbourne Cup, which is horrible news to his opponents that'll be trying to take him on. Number 2, Mapunga Award. Good old dog, this one. Just finds a way, doesn't he? Good to win last start, but he just speed maps awfully in a Group 1 sprint race.
He does, because he's not necessarily a wide runner, but just at that first turn, you feel like he wants to sort of hook around him, and then he finds a bit of trouble, and by that stage, Kanya Mayhem's probably pinched 5 or 6 on him as he's sort of wanting to get to his optimum pattern. So I'll be willing to risk Mapunga Reward in this.
Timmy Zoo comes up with box number 3, and Team Thompson have done some pretty extraordinary things before. This would be next level. If they can get him up to win a Group 1 Temley at this age, in the form that he's in. His run at Warragul was okay. He was cluttered up and sort of just held back from the field, held back from off the chart through the first 100 metres, through that first corner. So he hit the line okay. It would just be extraordinary for him to go to that next level and knock off a dog like Kanya Mayhem.
Well, he's got the map. It's a positive map. I'm definitely not potting the map. He's going to be the dog that sort of almost benefit maybe by slightly missing the kick here and just finding that spot on the rail, especially Mapunga Reward maybe panicked and maybe went off on the first turn. Tim Zoo's going to be right in that potentially 4th or 5th. You know how strong he is in the back half of the race. I think he can run a placing here, Tim Zoo.
Slick Splits, box number 4. When it came down to the connections to pick their draw in the Phoenix, they got it all wrong. They went with box number 1. Leave it up to GRV, random draw, box number 4. This suits this dog better, and he's an absolute weapon, and he loves the Meadows. No luck in the final of the Warragul Cup, but Heat Win sort of proved he was back, and he's a real deal, this dog.
He is. He'll be right in the finish here. I am tipping Kanya Mayhem on top, but Slick Splits I'll be tipping second for sure. If you like him, don't be scared to back him. He's going to be right in this dog. Meadows specialist, 1 group races on the track. He's flying at the moment. His Warragul heat and final runs were excellent, especially the heat. He hadn't been to Warragul before. I think this dog is very, very close to career best form at the moment, and he could explode and do something special here if Kanya Mayhem does something wrong.
So moving on now to Dacey's Rory. I mean, if you were sitting there and you wanted to have a litter to a dog that hasn't had a litter yet, I reckon you just about pick Dacey's Rory. He's a war horse. He races in every big series. He seems to qualify for just about everything. I love this dog. Box number 5 is not too bad for him. If he can find a place early, he does handle the Meadows. He can run a race for QLD.
Yeah, a couple of these runs up at the queue over that Gold Bullion series were sensational. Yeah, if you see slick splits driving up underneath him, where does that leave him at the first turn? Then you got to have the Whiteys coming across. Yeah, sort of neither here nor there. I don't have him in my top four, but absolutely deserves his place in this field.
What about Deadly Avenger? He's a winner of the Phoenix from this draw. Beat Kanya Mayhem, who's probably going to run a close to even money favourite in the race. Can he win from box number 6? He's a greyhound that's been there and done it.
Yeah, brilliant win in the Phoenix. Not the worst draw here either, because Dashing Slay can sort of push a little bit to the right. Is Deadly Avenger going as well? It's hard to say. He's been raced a bit sparingly, found trouble last start at the queue. I've got him in for 4th because the map isn't that bad. I just don't know about him this time.
On to number 7, Dashing Slay would be a monumental effort for her to win. I'm not putting a line through her, but I'm going to say she's a genuine 25 to 1 shot in this. Awesome through the Melbourne Cup Series, but when you look at her, the fact she hasn't raced for 2.5 months, to come first up, win a Temley at the Meadows, where she hasn't been traditionally as good as what she is at Sandown Park, it would be a big ask.
Yeah, you've nailed it, James. I'm a big fan of preparation and fitness, and hasn't raced since the 29th of November. Another one who deserves her spot in the field with some excellent runs over the Dream Chasers Festival late last year. Can't have her winning here.
I like the fact Sharapova stars in the field. She's just been a weapon. I mean, if you go to the Meadows on a Saturday night, the City View Bistro's up there and Sharapova stars here. Like they're always there, both of them, and she's always running a good race. I reckon her win the other night was next level. She hasn't had to work like that through the first 100 and then been able to finish off like the way she did. Consistently running 29.8. She could clear them from box 8. She's a sneaky chance in this race. Would need to lead clearly.
Yeah, you nailed that call the other night, James. I thought it was sensational. I don't want to pump your tyres up too much, mate. But yeah, couldn't agree more. The way off a 3-week break too, you kind of expected her to fold up a little bit just once they balanced up in the straight, but she just kept going. And she's a greyhound that I felt like the panelists would sort of forget about her and go, oh, after the event, maybe we should have put Sharapova Star in. She really deserves her spot in the field here. She's been flying around the Meadows and brings that excitement factor too. You know, she's probably going to go very close to leading. It can be a bit of a speed mapper's dream. You can go, well, I know where she's going to be at, so I can map the race. Now that she's got box 8, though, makes things a little bit more tricky. She's going to need everything to go right, and if she only steps about the same as Dashing Slay, Dashing Slay can go to the right a bit. Will she find it a bit harder to cross? I think so.
I think the 8 could be the key to her chances, to be honest, because if she's going to win the race, she's going to have to sort of give them a little bit of whiplash on the way across. And if she draws inside, they'll camp on her, they'll run her down. She's probably more of a chance to run top 4 from an inside draw, but I think she's more of a chance to win from box 8 because she can really carve and try and chop them up a little bit from the inside. So she's going to need a lot to go right. Reserves in the race, Vista Weird and Poor Oswald at this stage. We'll get to tips in just a moment. Quickly previewing the Zoom top. Here's the draw. 1 Light of Mine, 2 Without a Trace, 3 Belair Ethel, 4 Aiden's Warrior, 5 Mapungalaras, 6 Late Night News, 7 Magpie Hector, 8 Fade to Black, Ascend Uranium and Galkey Road of the Reserves. Is there one that looks really well drawn to your opinion? Obviously, Without a Trace, Belair Ethel have drawn where they sort of want to be, and I think the Pink's drawn where he wants to be, Fade to Black, and Tony Brett said some real glowing words around this dog and the fact he couldn't believe he hadn't already won a Group 1. So the raps on Fade to Black have sort of just amped up a little bit lately.
They have. And Tony Brett is just an absolute freak. Is he the best trainer in Australia?
Close to it.
You could make a case for it. He's just an absolute freak, T. Brett. Yeah, it's a funny race, this, in the sense of there's nothing that maps brilliantly, but there's nothing that maps too negatively either. I found this a little bit tough, but we'll go through all these runners, James.
Yeah, okay. We'll go through those. We'll get our tips out in just a sec. Just quickly on Magpie Hector, were you impressed by his run at the queue? He's a dog that he's promised a little bit, hasn't always delivered, but it looks like he's starting to head on that. I reckon it's the normal Ray Smith trajectory where they just keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah, the heat run, I think, where he gave Zipping Zayden Winburn, that was sensational and didn't really do much wrong. Maybe looked a bit more dour in that final, but as you said, probably a good thing that he was more dour because he's just becoming more and more of a genuine stayer. We see his littermate Slick Splits is the complete opposite of that. So just to go to show you what a brilliant training effort it's been by Jack Smith over the last probably 4 or 5 months with this dog.
We've kept the punters hanging. We're doing things a little bit differently. Normally we go race by race with our tips, but this time on the iconic edition, the Green Light On Racing and Sport Australian Cup edition with the 3-week mini-series, we are doing our tips in sort of a tip sheet format, which will be released to socials, no doubt. We're going to start off. I'll kick it off so we know exactly what we're doing. We're going to go through a couple of our best bets and tips for the big one. Starting off with the Tem Lee for me. 1, Kenya Mayhem on top. I think he's the special bet of the night, to be honest, which is pretty rare in a Group 1. I go with a special, but I think the inside draw, he punches through, he controls the race and he wins. The danger for mine is number 4, Slick Splits. If Kenya Mayhem does something wrong, he might just get on his bike early and be able to take the lead, a little bit like we've seen in Group 1s at the Meadows with Slick Splits in the past. On to the 8th race, the Sports Bet Zoom Top. I'm with 2 Without a Trace. I just think the class, she loves this track. She can position on speed. She'll be hard to beat. The danger for mine is number 8, Fade to Black. What Tony Brett said throughout the week and the fact that this greyhound's going to that next level, draws well, likes to use a bit of the track, so box 8's going to be no qualms. I'm 2 on top, but the 8 is the danger for mine. There's a few dangers in that race. I reckon Staying Racing starting to strengthen. As for the rest of the program, round 1 of the Oz Cup Series, Race 5, number 1, Cleo Star. I'm making her an each way special from the inside draw. She's got to hold sparring out in the run to the first corner, but I think if she can do that, she can go a long way to winning. And race 6, how could I leave out Dramatical? This dog, he's bloody exciting me at the moment. He looks like an absolute weapon, and his GPS data at Warragul, I reckon if there was GPS data, it would have blew up. It was that impressive. So they're my plays on round 1 of the Australian Cup Carnival. Over to you, Mickey. That's how we're going to do it, mate. I've given you the format. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, we're pretty similar on the Tem Lee. I'm going with Kenya Mayhem, just irresistible box 1 here. The dog's flying. His runs at the queue were sensational. Mapunga Award could be iffy out, and even if Mapunga Award begins, could shift off at the turn. Every chance for Kenya Mayhem just to explode, get the McFly and lead all the way here. Slick Splits in for 2nd. Tim Zoo for 3rd, just off a map, hugging the rail. Deadly Avenger for 4th. 1, 4, 3, and 6 in the Tem Lee. And onto the Zoom Top. I'm again with you, James, Without a Trace. I still liked her run last week. She got beat by Fade to Black, but that's greyhound racing. Fade to Black was just a bit better on the night. Not potting Without a Trace at all. I think she's an absolute superstar. Bel Air Raffle is the one for me I think is worthy of a mention. She's got huge upside as a stayer. Where she lands, she's just going to need to make no mistakes here. Got her in for 2nd. Fade to Black, box 8. I'm neither here nor there on the outside draw. Probably just a slight negative for me. And Mapunga Lara maps okay outside Aiden's Warriors. 2, 3, 8, and 5 in the Zoom Top. My best bet of the night, I'm going with race 6, number 1, Dramatical. No spoils here, but just I feel like he can make some mistakes and still win with the aid of that box 1. He's just going to stay along the rail. F&L Secret's been flying, can shift off the track a little bit. So Dramatical, even if he misses the start slightly, I still think he'll be able to just explode through with that stiff tail, use that barge factor. The back half of his race is going to be strong. He's got fitness on his side. Some of the other dogs in the race, like your Robinsons and Poor Vortex, have got tricky draws. Does Blue La Blue Boo chop out Poor Oswald potentially? So I just keep coming back to Dramatical there. And a value runner for the night I've found here at about 20 to 1 at the moment, depending on where you're shopping. Really like Kiwi Kenji's last couple of runs in race 3, number 3. I just think he maps really well here with Tarawai Therese, who I'm just against why they're sort of running her over this 525. In a very, very weak race at Warragul the other night and folded up late over the 460. So I'm just questioning why you'd run her over the 525 here. But she's going to explode out off box 2. And there's going to be all this room along the rail. And Kiwi Kenji's developing some better box habits. He was shifting right off the track. Now he is going a bit straight, or she, I should say. I just think she lands in a great spot here. She's currently $21 on the tab. I think she's an excellent each-way play. I'm trying to find one out real wide for the punters. That'd be it. Race 3, number 3, Kiwi Kenji.
Beautifully done, Mick. Can I just confirm, 1, Michael Ty, never trained a dog, questioning the placement of Tarawai Therese, trained by Jay Thompson, arguably Australia's greatest ever trainer.
Yeah, I have. You might not talk to me again, Tomo, now that I've gone on air with that. But yeah, no, that's all right. I've been wrong before and I will be again. So let's see what happens.
He's going to have to pull out all stocks, I think, for her to win a heat of the Oz Cup based on that run at Warragul. And that's what we have to do. We have to discuss on what we see. And I thought exactly the same thing. Obviously, with the Oz Cup Carnival on, you either have a throw at the stumps or you don't. And they've obviously thought, well, she'll lead. There's no doubt about that. So we'll have a throw at the stumps. But yeah, I reckon she's the lay of the night, especially if she's at a price that is layable. Race 3, number 2. I liked Intrepidus in that for what it was worth. I think I'm calling as well on Saturday night. So a couple of big weeks coming up, mate. We'll be recording next Thursday, which will be about the 19th for the round 2 of the Oz Cup series, and then on the Monday, with the Oz Cup being on the Saturday, we'll record again. So stick around for that, partners. Big thanks to you, Mickey Ty. Have a good week, mate. And how many times up the 1,000 steps over the next 7 days do you think?
Oh, just a couple, but looking forward to Saturday night. Of course, myself, Nathan Rooney, and hosting extraordinaire Jason Adams will be trackside of all the late mail for all 12 races. So I'm pumped for that.
And just remember, mate, you got to work the upper body too, not just the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey. That's it. Yes, hope you've enjoyed round number 1. We're going to call this of the iconic Australian Cup podcast. Hope we get a couple of winners. Those tip sheets are looking red hot. Until next time, which will be next week, safe travelling and happy punting. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.